What's up, y'all? It's your boy, Miss Jackson. Going live again. Boy, you said a mouthful. Goodness gracious. So where does this leave us? So, brother, where does this leave us? What next?
In American history. But as we look at Chicago today, Chicago, like Chicago especially, has become the face of something unsustainable. And so one of the key things I want to talk about tonight is revitalizing our urban communities. I, myself, Brother Mays, I am one of a very small class of scholars in the United States. And as you know, I've just published my 30th book. But I am what's called...
Man, how do you write all these books that much? Where do you find the time?
Well, I was able to get 2 big books, solid works, and very highly detailed and scientifically backed, footnoted books out in the year 2016. And so how do we do it? You know something? I have found that Imhotep gene, that genius that produced George Washington Carver, Sheikh Anta Diop, Booker T. Washington, Ida Wells Barnett, and so many others. And so how do we do it? We, as we reach for the stars, Brother Mays, we always remember we are standing on the shoulders of giants. But I want to talk about revitalizing these urban communities. And Chicago should be ground zero for the most amazing transformation that can take place within 1 decade that black people have known since the days of the UNIA, Marcus Garvey's Universal Negro Improvement Association. And when we talk about scientific futurism and the application of exponentially developing technologies to transform community, Chicago, it would be a great place for us to turn what we currently are calling gentrification into what the winners in the process call it. They call it urban revitalization. And one of the things I propose in the books is formula for actually doing this. And one of the things we must do, we must create urban innovation zones, tech hub areas where young people just graduating from college will want to move into this area to begin their professional career, where they will be supported by community investment, where they can get access to the highest speed internet for free living in such a community, where they will be able to get very inexpensive office space in a shared office community, where they can get access to 3D printers and to technologies and workshops, and where investors, angel investors, and other type of development investors will be constantly on the lookout for the innovative ideas coming from these young people. There could be ideas in technology on creating applications for computers and smartphone apps, but also our youth are still innovating in the arts, in fashion, they're innovating in media, in a whole spectrum. So we list as many of these assets in the book as we possibly can, all toward the aim of correcting one of our great historic problems. Brother Mays, I'm sure you've done it many times. During the month of February, we go down this beautiful long list of black inventors and their inventions. The problem is we did not create sustainable industry and capture market on any of those inventions we can begin to correct that immediately.
Let me stop you right there because we got callers. Let me go to the calls. Ladies and gentlemen, we are discussing the repairing Brother Keedy Obi Awadu, and we are discussing his book, The Repairing, The Blueprint of Reparations. Now we've got callers. Let's see, we're gonna go to Russell. Russell, what you got? I need you to turn that phone down in the background. Russell, what you got?
Yes, hi. Thank you for taking my call. I want to commend you for having Brother Keedy on. I'm used to hearing him from the East Coast. The point I want to make is that what he speaks of is what we should be doing relative to reinvigorating ourselves here in America, particularly in Chicago. But when we look forward to other areas such as the continent, the motherland that he has spoken of on other occasions, I'm wondering, is it still a doable thing? Because he has mentioned before that this is the next mighty powerful economy coming on board right now. It's the African continent. And given the relations that we have with them, is it very feasible that it could take place? That which he's speaking of now to take here, yes, it's got to happen here. But can we also make that happen in Africa? I say that knowing that there was some law mentioned that those of us who want to repatriate back to Africa cannot receive land, cannot receive any rights that others have over there. But at the same time, many whites are traveling to Africa, getting land, getting rights, and establishing their business for the future.
And not only, and let me just say this, having been to Zimbabwe multiple times, it's not just white folks. It's white folks, it's Asians, it's Indians. Everyone is taking full advantage of Africa right now. Brother Keedy, what do you say to this brother?
Great question, Brother Russell. I really appreciate that. Yes, the answer is yes, 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 yes. I am very proud. For the last 2 years, have been the most prominent voice within this country talking about the phenomena called Africa Rising. And I want people to remember those two words together. Look it up in a search engine. You'll find out it's much more formalized than we have been informed. Africa Rising means sub-Saharan Africa was last year the fastest growing GDP growth across any continent in the world. It has fallen somewhat since the price of oil and other commodities has had a downturn, but those are expected to bounce back. And sub-Saharan Africa will once again have the fastest growing GDP growth in the world above Asia. Ethiopia still maintains the second fastest GDP growth of any nation on earth. And the second fastest, but the fastest growing one is the Caribbean nation, Turks and Caicos Island, with a population of 90.7% black people. So black people are rising. And when you talk about getting land in Africa, listen, I've been to Africa 6 times, and not one of my trips has not been accompanied by offers for land development. My first trip to Africa, on the second day there, we were very fortunate to have the Zimbabwe ambassador to Egypt and the governor of the Harare district, the capital of the country, speak to our group in Cairo. And they were really impressed by a couple of questions that I asked them. Later, they called me. I was having dinner with my friends, sent someone over and said the ambassador and the governor would like you to join them at the table for dinner. They sat me down, asked me a few questions, and then told me to bring this message back to blacks in the United States, to tell black farmers to come home to Zimbabwe. They would give us land, they would give us federal government support, but they needed our skills, or they needed technology transfer, and I've been working very hard to do that. So we talked about the Kujichagulia villages that we've been developing here. We have 3 Kujichagulia village development partnerships in Benin and 2 in Ghana, 1 in Benin, 2 in Ghana, as well as we've supported other projects in Rwanda, Zimbabwe, and the last trip I made to Africa, I was given an offer to develop some 300 hectares of land in Kenya for an organic fruit growing and juice production facility. And then our last project, and we really want to go with this one in 2006, is to acquire 2,000 acres of certifiable organic farmland in Uganda. And the price per acre is so stunning, I almost don't even want to see it, because everybody's going to want to pull all their money out of the bank. but you could never find that equivalent land in this country for 6 times that price.
Brother Kitty, I got to stop you right there. We got to go to break. When we come back, we will continue our conversation on the repairing. Live on the line, Brother Kitty Obi Awadu. We are discussing the repairing, the blueprint of reparations. Give us a call, 773-591-1690.
Insane Wayne Fields, the B-side. Hey, boo-boo, this is Insane Wayne.
Hi, Wayne.
All right, y'all. We are Facebook Live, and we were trying to be a little technical, and things didn't work out. So we're a little low deck. That's all right. I hope everybody's having a good time. Hope you're getting some insights and some information as it relates to what is going on in Chicago. Yo, great conversations tonight. Hope y'all had some good times. Man, bro, do we figure out what's going on with the
came down to a solution. It might be a tower because the broadcast keeps interrupting, like on the actual Facebook Live. So
you think it's not? You think it's something else?
It's something else. It gotta be.
Jose Rico, what up, brother? What's up, LaDonna Rhea? How you doing, sweetie? Let's see who else is out here rocking with us. Adam Livingston Bates, what's up? What up, Adam? Go Mob Frat. Woo!
2 years ago, I created a vision board for my life. Not because I was unhappy with my current trajectory,
I'm tired.
to be more focused about where
I had the social media question of the week this morning. I overslept, y'all. I woke up. I don't understand what it is. Can y'all help me understand? I'm usually up until 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning any other time. But it seems like when I do the show here, and I get home at 12 o'clock and I go to bed, I'm super tired. I don't understand what the difference is. If I'm used to going up, is it, what is it? Why is it so hard for me to go to sleep? Why is it so hard for me to get up in the morning? When I go to bed at the same time, it just seems like it's so much. Man, did anybody see that video of them kids beating on that kid? Let me ask a question. Do you think it was that bad? My girl Helen Tyner didn't think it was that bad. I think that we've seen way worse. He was alive. They didn't shoot him. Every time we see black people, they wind up dead. Okay, you want me to stop? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just curious. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Are you all going to Disney on Ice? Are you going to go to Disney on Ice? Can you tell I'm getting sleepy? I'm gonna make pork chops when I get home. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that on this broadcast. Brother's gonna be like, you sellout. I'm just telling y'all though, I'm about to make the bomb diggity pork chop when I get home. I'm having me some rice with sugar and butter. Y'all think of the nuddle, hustle behind the wheel, trying to escape my trouble, can't stop it greeting me. I'm talking sweet and cheese, cursing the very God that brought this reef to be. My life is based on sacrifices, Jews like ISIS and fools that think I slip you around. You get your guys hit, they build me to be filthy on some eyes, do or die. For real, the price of levels got me deeper than ever, and just think winter's here, I'm trying to feel me. Politics as usual. Politics as usual. Took my Frito to Tito in the district. What's up, Chicago? It's your man Maze Jackson. You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. Are you out there? Are you still awake? Give us a call, 773-591-1690. We are talking to Brother Kitty Obi Awadu, and we are talking about the repairing. The blueprint for reparations. Now, we talked about the 9 points, but before we went to break, Brother Kitty was suggesting maybe we need to buy some land in Africa. Now, Brother Kitty, I'm going to tell you, I've been to Zimbabwe twice. And when I was in Zimbabwe, it seemed to me as though they had gold mines and diamond mines the same way we had gardens in our backyards. Am I crazy? How do we get to investment in Africa?
Well, let me tell you, Brother Mays, I'm excited to be here. As you can tell, I'm very excited about the new book, which people can see the book at therepairing.com. We'll give that out a little bit later, but I want people to get excited about it too. And you're absolutely right. When we're talking about opportunities for capital investment, or what's called foreign direct investment, we unfortunately have been overlooking Africa. Brother Mays, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but in the year 2013, China invested some $40.7 billion in development projects, in 127 different development projects across the African continent. For that amount of money, they received that year in trade a 5-to-1 return on that investment. That same year, Brother Mays, we spent almost the exact same equivalent money during the months of November and December on increased spending for holiday shopping. Last year, 2015, Afri-Amers, after having the Justice or Else campaign being put in our minds, being promoted all across the spectrum, we increased our spending on holiday shopping during the months of November and December to $49.7 billion, an all-time record. The numbers for this year won't come in, but I'm pretty sure we did the same pattern.
Brother Ken, so help me understand, what is it that we don't get? What is it that black people don't get about not shopping and not spending in these places where these people are trying to kill us?
Well, we're getting marketing. There's the idea of marketing ideas to people is very powerfully oriented, especially within this capitalist society. So what is being marketed to us is consumption without competition. But if we consider that on this planet, 1 out of every 5 people on Earth is of African heritage, we are everywhere. There are 300 million of us all throughout the Western Hemisphere. We haven't been marketed that we should have functioning partnerships with Brazil, with Colombia, with Haiti, with Cuba. We were not marketed that when the economic blockade of Cuba was coming down, that we should have been the very first ones arriving in Cuba to set up the new international trade deals. Even when Fidel Castro used to come to the United States, he immediately went to Harlem because he felt the greatest solidarity with the black people of Harlem. But we can change all of that. A city like Chicago could develop a 1-to-1 partnership, not a sister city partnership with Kinshasa or Brazzaville, Cairo or Johannesburg, but a city-to-nation partnership. If Chicago, with its immense resource base, developed a 1-to-1 partnership with a nation such as the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Mozambique, or Cote d'Ivoire, nations that are amongst the fastest rising economies on earth, the city of Chicago could once again be one of the great investment development cities in the world, only this time black people would be in charge of a great deal of it.
Brother Keith, but I guess, I love what you're talking about and I love what you're saying, but where does the money come from? Where do we get the capital? So we know that, can you do me a favor and turn that radio down in the background? What we know is that there is a lack of access to capital in the black community. And so while we're suggesting that we go to Africa and that we invest and that we buy, we can't even buy stuff in the United States. So where do you suggest that this capital is going to come from?
Well, first of all, we have to understand the nature of economics and capital. That's the fundamental rule that we're violating. And we've got all of these intellectuals, all these organizations, but they're still violating the fundamental rules. Brother Mays, most people don't even know who is the richest black man in America. And his name is Robert Smith. And he's very low profile. In fact, when they put out these richest black people in America lists, he keeps his names off the list. But he's the richest black man in America. He runs Vista Equity Partners, an equity finance group which takes equity stakes in enterprise software. His Vista Equity Partners was the best performing equity group in the world for 2015. It was the best for 2016, and it was the best one in the United States, best performing, managing about $14 billion in equity funds. If we understand equity financing, we can, first of all, launch a bond. In my book, I call this bond, which would be specifically targeted toward investing in black economic development on the domestic and international basis, because we cannot develop domestically without having a transnational development simultaneously. That's just the new global economy. But if we took this reparations bond, sold these bonds for $25 or so families could invest in these bonds for Christmas presents, like my daddy used to do with his 4 sons when we were young. He bought us a U.S. savings bond as a Christmas present, a bond which gains in value as it also underwrites the expansion and development of infrastructure for growth and development. I'll give you an example, Brother Mays. Currently, there are 6 African nations that are manufacturing automobiles: Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, and South Africa. Currently, of the top 10 businesses in America, 5 of them, or 4 of them, are automobile parts manufacturers. But they are not exporting not one part to African countries in a U.S. market, automobile manufacturing market, that is actually constricting because of competition from Asian nations that are beating us into the global market. Why would we not raise an equity funding position, what's called a sovereign wealth fund, and we go to these 4 black automobile parts manufacturers and say, we want you to double your capacity, double your employment base, and a significant amount of your increased production will be directly exported to these 5 African nations who are assembling cars but do not have the capacity for manufacturing all of the parts to go to those cars. And, Brother Mays, we're talking about the world's fastest growing middle-class consumer market for the next 35 years and beyond is sub-Saharan Africa.
Brother Keedy, I am 100% with you. I have literally seen it. I have been to sub-Saharan Africa and have said, oh my God. And you know what? We are going to look back, and black people specifically are going to look back and be sick because the open markets are in Africa. Let me ask you another question, because I want to dovetail into, I was looking at your list and we're running out of time. So what I would like to do is touch on this crime and justice. So talk to me about crime and justice as it relates to reparations.
One of the primary agents that drives violent crime in the world is wealth inequality. And one of the most unequal cities of wealth in the United States is Chicago. If we understand this, and I often cite a series of studies from the Pew Charitable Trust Foundation, Research Foundation, that associates wealth inequality, income inequality with violent crime. It's true in South Africa, it's true in Honduras, it's true all over the world. So therefore, the same thing is true in Memphis, St. Louis, Chicago, and other cities. Where you have great inequality of wealth, especially in a rich city like Chicago, you're going to have high levels of violent crime due to the establishment of an illicit economy, etc.
Let me do station identification. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. Give us a call, 773-591-1690. We are talking to Brother Keedy Obi Awadu. We are talking about the book, The Repairing. Blueprint for Reparations, 9 areas of reparations. Go ahead, Brother Keedy.
So some of the factors that will come into play in our self-reparation strategy is repairing our health status, as well as extracting our labor from the prison industrial complex. Currently, it costs in the United States on average about $35,000 a year to keep a man in a cage, a prison cell. For women, it's slightly higher because women have greater needs, personal needs. $35,000 a year. Yet that same person working in the U.S. workforce produces on average $70,000 per year in goods and services. So it costs the state $35,000 to keep them in the cage, but educated and put into the workforce, they produce twice as much for the nation. So we are going to have to do self-repairing on this instance as in so many. We're going to have to come into these urban zones, and we're going to have to put in facilities. We had mentioned earlier about the urban innovation zones, where creative young people just graduating college are going to be expected to move and to build their career for the next 40 years living in these neighborhoods. You know, that's how we hold on to these neighborhoods for decades. Young professionals moving in at the beginning of their careers. But we can also do things like the United States Department of Agriculture has put up $100 million for programs that help to resolve urban food deserts. And so we can create these urban gardening communities, urban gardens, and a number of different things to be able to get a piece of that money.
Brother Keating,
Mm-hmm.
So I agree that there's money out there that we need to get access to and we need to be trying to get to. But it seems like some of these solutions people have proposed before. Why is it that we are having a challenge to get them done? Because again, I would say that you have some great ideas. I'm not suggesting that we've never heard some of them before, but what do we have to do to get to the implementation phase?
Formulas. We've got to use scientifically based formulas. One of the things that has been missing in the proposals has been the right type of partnership. So one of the number of formulas that I put in the book is called the 6-part partnership for getting anything done. And it requires, on one level, the grassroots, partner number one, the people who are going to be beneficiaries, the stakeholders in the outcome. 2, non-governmental organizations. When the grassroots people get themselves organized, they create NGOs. Number 3, public partnerships. We're going to get politicians, city councils, government agencies, and in the book we list some 14 or more government agencies that are there available for us to utilize for our repairing. 4, private partnerships to get the business community to also be a working partner in our pursuits. Number 6, colleges and universities have got to be included in this partnership. And that was number 5. And number 6, very important, we must engage mass media communications so that all of the ideas of which all of the members of the partnership are going to be working together are coordinated through a social broadcast or social marketing campaign. And we can also use the 26-part formula called social engineering to be able to modify the behaviors of both the individual and the collective. These formulas do work.
Brother Keating, so let me stop you right now. So I am going to touch on the subject because, you got some very bright insights. So, Brother Keating, did you see the video of the young man getting what they're calling tortured by 4 young African Americans in Chicago?
No, I do not watch any of those videos. If the victim's white or black, I deliberately keep those things out of my mind. I'm just too busy, Brother Mays, working on very serious projects to be distracted and reactive to what mass media puts in our face. I'll give you an example. Much of my work centers around health, because health economy is very, very important to the nation, very important to our people. Every week in the United States, police kill, on average, 9 black people.
Dang.
This amounts to about 400 for the year 2016. But every week, the medical pharmaceutical drug complex kills over 3,000 or almost 3,000 people in the United States. For every 1 police homicide in all of America, they're expected to be about just under 1,200 for the year 2016, there are 1,069,000 deaths by the medical pharmaceutical drug complex and medical errors, adverse drug reactions, a ratio of 975 to 1. So I don't dwell a lot on what the corporate controlled media stuffs in my face for me to want to react to. I would prefer to be focused on the macro issues, the things that have the biggest impact. It's expected, Brother Mays, because of our poor health status, 170,000 black people will die prematurely because of their encounter with bad medicine, while 400 will be shot by police.
Brother Keedy, boy, you are really, really, really enlightening us tonight. You are listening to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM WVON. We are the voice of the nation. I am Maze Jackson. We're filling in this week for Roland Martin, or let me say we're not filling in for Roland Martin, but we are filling in this spot from 9 to midnight tomorrow. We'll be here for our last night of the week. It's the Maze Said live broadcasting right here from the WVON studios. Brother Keedy, we only have a few minutes left. So, please give me a wrap up and let the listeners know what your thoughts are. Give us a closing statement.
Brother Mays, I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to reintroduce myself to the people of Chicago. It's been many years since I've been on WVON, and it's been many years since I've had the opportunity to come there and present, and we're looking to set up, based upon the new book, a very robust tour for the coming year. People can go to therepairing.com and learn more about the book. We have another great solution called the Reparations Party, literally a political party centered around the idea that we need reparations to be our central political issue for any other political parties to even want to talk to us. Much of my work on health is at the website livingsuperfood.com, and the health economy is absolutely critical to our development. I just want people to get excited like you and me are this evening, brother. We're excited because we see the future being laid out ahead of us. It's very, very clear. We're very clear about our resources, our resourcefulness, as we reach for the stars, Brother Roland, or Brother
You call me Roland. All this work I've been doing, and you gonna make me Roland Martin? No, I'm just go ahead, Brother Keedy.
I wish I could be saying goodbye to Roland after an interview like we've had. But Brother Mace, as you and I reach for the stars, we must never lose sight that we are standing on the shoulders of giants. And so, to this Brother Ken Bridges, whose honoring is very important to this book, The Repairing, yes, we hear your instruction, beloved ancestors, and we will do for self. We don't need anyone to do for us like we can do for ourselves. I'm honored to have been here. TheRepairing.com. We need this book to dissipate into the community as fast and as wide as we possibly can, Brother Mays.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking to Brother Keedy Obi Awadu, author of The Repairing, a blueprint for reparations. Brother Keedy, I want to thank you for informing our listening audience. It has been an awesome pleasure. I'm going to keep you on my list of guests because we're going to definitely have you back. It has been great and it has been insightful. Thank you very much, brother.
It has been an honor for me. I look forward to our next encounter in this great radio station in this great city, Chicago. We love it.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to wrap up the show. We've only got a few minutes left, so I want to take a moment. First of all, we have had a few challenges this evening on our Facebook Live feed, but I want to thank everybody that stuck with us the whole night. I want to thank my production team. I want to take a moment to say thank you to those of you that are out here. Now, first of all, I want to thank my beautiful and lovely wife, Commissioner Carrie Steele. Y'all, I need y'all to be able to support her, because you know all this what's in it for the black people stuff don't make everybody so happy all the time. So make sure you support Commissioner Carrie Steele. Shout out to Adam Livingston Bates. What up, Frat Go Mob? We are about to celebrate our Founders Day. Shout out to the men of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. What's up? You going to that Dark Side Day party? I think I will be there on Saturday at Bevy, but we got a plethora of events. Shout out to LaDonna. Shout out to Nettie. Shout out to Ronald Albert Nethery. Shout out to Jose Rico. Shout out to Roberto Sepulveda. Roberto, you my main guy, bro. You know, if there is going to be a Black and Latino coalition, you going to get it. You going to put it together. What's up to my sister Tennille? Thank you very much. Nettie Morris, Darren Bryan, what's up, cuz? I see you out there shaking it up, talking about easier said than done. Want to send a special thank you to Julian Sample. You know, Julian was the person that connected me with Brother Keedy Obi Awadu, suggested that we talk. So I want to tell Julian thank you. Jake Monopoly. Jake, why you hating out there, man? Jake said all that guy is saying is garbage. N-words have to be shown and proved that they can have the same dose, same. Ooh, see, you know what? All right, Jake. Y'all go on the Facebook Live feed and read what Jake had to say. Jake snapped off. All right, Darren Bryant, Ronald Albert Nethery, Earl Winfrey, what's up? Intellectual Radio. Appreciate you out there, man. I appreciate the support. Let's see who else we got out there. Kitty, thank you very much for being online. Make sure you join and follow up the broadcast. All right. Yeah, I just want to talk about this for just 2, 3, 4 minutes before we go. First of all, I want to tell a special thank you to Treasurer Michael Frericks. Special thank you to Sharice for getting Treasurer Michael Frericks to appear on the show. Shout out to LG Sims, State Representative LG Sims, and shout out to State Representative Carol Ammons. I just want to point out that we can have a civic discussion. I don't always agree with the Black Caucus, but they are on our team, and we want to make sure that we give them the tools to be successful. You can't complain about it if you're not going to participate in it. And so many of us have so much negative to say. You know, I got a lot to say because I'm in it. I'm in it up to my elbows. But for a lot of people just sit back and just hate. I just hope that you all had the opportunity to listen, and we all have to get our behinds out to that Illinois Black Caucus legislative update because they said they want input. So don't come to the meeting without a list. Don't come up there just so you can complain. Don't just come up to complain. Come up with some suggestions because I got some suggestions and I'm coming with my list. So we're going to be up at Chicago State on January 19th, 4th floor. All right. Henry Hartsfield, thank you very much, brother. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the support. Woo! It's been a long day, Chicago. You know, I left here last night at 12:30. I was back here at 7:30. Left and back at 8 o'clock again today. And we're going to be right back tomorrow from 9 to midnight. Now, I can't wait till tomorrow because I'm going to tell y'all what. The 11 to 12 hour we're going to paint this studio blue and white because the men of Phi Beta Sigma are about to have a studio take over. We are taking over. Shout out to the men of Phi Beta Sigma. Shout out to the ladies of Zeta Phi Beta. I want to send a special shout out to all of the Black Greeks that are celebrating founders. I think the Kappas got a few more minutes left. Shout out to the Kappas. You know what, y'all? I thought it was pretty dope to be sitting across and interviewing Mr. Asa Patterson. Y'all know in college we used to probably be on the opposite sides of the fence, literally. And it's good to see brothers come full circle. Hey, have you supported a black business? Have you supported a black person? Are you asking yourself what's in it for the black people? So before you take that selfie, next time somebody comes, they come to the neighborhood and tell us what they're going to do for us good. Make sure you ask them what's in it for the black people. Black folks, we got to start talking about our own self-interest. Yeah, I feel you on the black-brown coalition. Maybe. Kind of. Even though the coalition ain't with the black and the browns. The coalition with the black and with the brown and the whites. But that's all. Neither here nor there. What I need for you to do is no matter who it is, no matter what they talking about, they ask you for a vote, they ask you for support, what you gonna ask them? What you gonna ask them? You gonna ask them what's in it for the black people. You see that? Didn't make a difference if it was the treasurer. Didn't make a difference if it was the state reps. We gonna ask what's in it for the black people. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my time. That is my time. It's almost over. But before I go, you know I got to tell you, right? They may not like it. They might not like it. But you know what you can tell them? You can tell them, May said. Until tomorrow, we'll be right back. We'll be back. Peace.
Questions on the Hill, suspect's motivation. I'm Elliot Francis. U.S. intelligence officials testified on Capitol Hill Thursday regarding Russia's cyber hacking during the November election, and one question